Vaccines. What are they? Vaccines are procured concoctions to promote immunity against disease. How do they work? Essentially, macrophages are a type of white blood cell that digests other cells. During this process, they are able to mark and identify potentially pathogenic molecules. With the help of other cells in the immune system, the body is able to combat and prevent the spread and replication of unwanted intruders. To ensure the correct cells are targeted, the identifiers, or antigens, are very unique. As a result, the proteins, or antibodies, that neutralize the cells must also be highly specified. This is why there are so many different vaccines and manufacturers, and why getting the flu shot does not guarantee immunity. Here is a list of all the 2021 influenza vaccines in Canada. Here are all the different manufacturers for the influenza vaccines in the States. There are several rumors and myths surrounding vaccines. The basis for these myths come from a publication in The Lancet, which is one of the most highly respected medical journals around the globe. The paper was entitled Ileal Lymphoid Nodular Plastia, Nonspecific Colitis and Pervasive Development Disorder in Children, and it was written by former Dr. Andrew Wakefield. Based off the results of his one study, Mr. Wakefield began to decree his findings. Shortly after this publication, outside researchers performed several additional experiments and studies that contradicted Mr. Wakefield's findings. The lack of verified evidence, as well as invalid information, eventually led to not only the article being retracted, but also the revoking of Mr. Wakefield's medical license by the British Medical Council. I found this article fascinating for several reasons. The first being that one of my older brothers has autism. Additionally, when I was younger, I contracted chickenpox. I now know that chickenpox and shingles are both caused by the same virus, human alpha herpes virus 3, which means that when I get older, I'll be more susceptible to get shingles. From previous classes, I know that viruses are not only living and therefore cannot be killed, so although I may not show symptoms for neither shingles nor chickenpox, the virus is still in my system. A few years ago, my grandfather got shingles. He had some blistering on his face, which is very rare, and he told me it was one of the most painful things he has ever experienced in his life. He had received the shingles vaccine in the past, but he still contracted shingles. I currently work in a pharmacy, which has given me a lot of insight into diseases and other health conditions. From my experience, I've met several people that do not get the flu shot and feared that it will give them the flu. Some of these people have gotten the flu shot a few times, and when they did, they seemed to get the flu. However, I always like to mention that correlation does not mean causation. Funnily enough, researchers have actually investigated whether informing the general public about myths about the flu vaccine has a positive impact on the number of vaccines. The viruses used for industry have been modified to no longer infect people. Some of them have been either genetically modified, or they have coincidentally lost the ability to infect humans from a mutation and are pre-cultured. Vaccines are produced by culturing viruses in medium. Most viruses can only infect a small range of hosts. Therefore, one must select optimal conditions for the pure culture to produce a large quantity of viruses. Another challenge is that viruses being cultivated could potentially harm those working in the lab, but cautions are always taken. According to the CDC's website, only about 45% of adults in the U.S. received flu shots in 2018. Meanwhile, a different study focused on a variety of children aging from 6 months to 17 years old. They found that 62.6% of those were vaccinated. On the one hand, it is commendable that parents and caregivers are attending to their kids. However, they should do the same for themselves. From experience, I know that most of the time, insurance companies will cover the cost of the flu shot at no cost, whether it's administered in an office, retailer, grocery store, or even local pharmacy. Another issue that people might have with a flu shot is the fear of needles. However, I have the same fear, and there are alternatives, such as the flu mist. It is always important, though, to verify and read information, because it was found out that in 2016, the flu mist for that year was not effective as the flu shot was. Another reason I chose this subject was because of the prevalence of COVID-19. So far, there does appear to be an increased immunity against COVID-19 in those that have received the influenza vaccine, especially those that are 65 years and older. Although it's just correlation at the moment, many studies are finding out the same thing. Although there does seem to be a correlation, we must remember that correlation does not mean causation. Now, I'll be showing you how to get a flu shot in your local area in Canada. This website has flu clinics across Canada. I'll click in Ontario for starters. This website also provides COVID-19 testing, which I'll show you shortly. From here, we just scroll down a bit, see COVID-19 testing locations. A little bit further down, you can see that the flu shot can be free, and if not, I'll show you how to get reduced prices. Here we can click local public health units to see the local ones in Ontario. If you're interested in COVID-19 testing, you could also go here from the link before and type in your postal code. It'll give you some of the pharmacies and other locations that are offering it, as well as the phone number and website if you have any questions or concerns. I do have another website here that might help lower the cost of the flu shot as well as other prescriptions. Here we can see what's covered. Again, we'll select Ontario. Then we can see some of the prescriptions here that will be covered. I'll also provide a link in the description below of other sites that might be helpful in terms of prescriptions, flu shot, vaccines in Canada, as well as the US. Another thing we can do is look up how to get a flu shot at the university. In this case, we'll use the University of Windsor. Just a quick search of University of Windsor, pharmacy. Alright, click this. Then we'll scroll down a bit. Immunizations and vaccines. Flu shot here. And there's a few requirements here, but again, I had some coupons listed that you can use, so we'll try to fill out this form, and boom, there you go. Just a couple of questions you got to answer, you'll be all set. Additionally, if you have any questions or concerns, you could always call the university